This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutastrophe. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, May the 15th, is a legend in the college football world. He was sparkling. He won the Heisman Trophy as a senior with the University of Michigan. Then Washington decided to use him, but unfortunately, though, it did not pan out that well. Although he did have some great plays as a special teams guy, he just wasn't meant to be a starting wide receiver like he should have been. But anyway, he was inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame in 2011. His name is Desmond Howard, who's 53 years old today. So Desmond Howard was born in Cleveland and played high school with Cleveland, and then went to the University of Michigan, which was huge. He was a legend, especially on special teams. Although he did have 23 touchdowns and doing well on special teams. He was good and all that. In fact, 85% of the first place votes for the Heisman was to him, the largest margin at that time. Anyway, Desmond Howard was a legend for the University of Michigan. His number 21 has been retired by the Wolverines. He was supposed to be a running back, but then, well, he struggled for playing time. But Counselor Greg Harden at the university helped him get better and all that. And it was huge and all that. So anyway, his senior season would always be remembered in '91 for his Heisman pose. Michigan took on Ohio State, the big rivalry game in 1991 at Michigan. ABC had the game. Keith Jackson doing the call. It was amazing. In fact, Ohio State was told, punt the ball out of bounds. Don't let Desmond Howard get a punt return, because it could hurt you. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. And then he ran the punt return back. No one's going to touch him. Hello, Heisman! As Keith Jackson famously said. And Desmond did the Heisman pose and all that. A lot of people said that it was just not really that good thing. But, the Heisman pose was, a memorable thing. So, it's the 92 NFL draft. And after Indy picked up a big trade, Indy got Steve Edmond first overall from Washington, defensive end. Then they had Tampa's pick, that would have been number 2, in exchange for Chris Chandler. Who, boy, that's a big mistake. Indy took Quentin Coriat, who was a decent guy for A&M, and a decent guy for the Colts. And then the Rams took Sean Gilbert, defensive tackle from Pitt, 3rd. Then Washington took Desmond Howard. The pick was actually Cincy's pick. Cincy traded away their 1st and 3rd round picks to Washington for Washington's 2 first-round picks. So basically, it was Washington wanted to trade up with the Bengals. The Bengals, with that pick that they ended up getting from Washington via San Diego, took David Klingler. Ha ha ha! Funny move. Cincy didn't do anything with Klingler. Desmond Howard was not really much for Washington as well. It was a luxury pick for Washington. They won Super Bowl 26, and they had Art Monk, Gary Clark, and Ricky Sanders already on their roster. Well, Washington was worried that Green Bay was going to draft Howard ahead of them, so they dealt their 2 first-round picks for Cincy's first-round pick. It was exciting. But as a receiver, he wasn't really that big and all that. He was left unprotected in the '95 NFL expansion draft, and Jacksonville, took him with the 55th pick. So Jacksonville, he was a kick returner. And then Jacksonville didn't want him, so he went to Green Bay, the team that would have drafted him in '92 if it wasn't for Washington being cowardly. Anyway, Howard was pretty good. He led the NFL in punt return yards and punt return touchdowns, getting 3 of them. All that. His 875 yards of punt return duty was an NFL record, breaking the record by Fulton Walker of the Dolphins, who did it in '85. However, the Packers and Niners battled it out. Howard had a punt return for a touchdown. And then they got to Super Bowl 31 against the Patriots. It was 27-21 now after a touchdown run by Curtis Martin. The Patriots boomed the kickoff to the 1-yard line, but Desmond Howard came out of nowhere, 99 yards and all that. And that was the last score as the Packers won the game 35-21. So that looked amazing and all that. Desmond Howard made the big play. He had 90 punt return yards and 154 kickoff return yards for 244 all-purpose yards, tying a Super Bowl record and giving him the Super Bowl MVP award. It was just shocking. I mean, Brett Favre, I think, kind of deserved it, but no, it wasn't. Unfortunately, he was a free agent at the end of the year, and Oakland, after going after Larry Brown after his Super Bowl MVP performance for Dallas in Super Bowl 30, Oakland didn't learn their lesson and decided to take another Super Bowl MVP. He spent only one season with the 1 or 2 seasons. He spent a few years with the Raiders, but then went back to Green Bay for the '99 season. But after subpar performances, he was cut. Detroit signed him, and it was fitting because Detroit's in Michigan, and Michigan was where he played college ball. He actually scored a special teams touchdown in his Lions debut, but after that, nothing else. He caught 123 passes for 1,597 yards as a receiver in 11 years. He was still a decent punt returner and all that, getting 15 touchdowns, 7 receiving and 8 on punt returns. He would not have a kick return touchdown except for Super Bowl 31. But still, was his career a flop? I don't know. But he was a good returns guy and all that. And yes, he did become the cover athlete for NCAA football 06. And a shock that they would not have a current college football player on the cover. They would have, a legend. And it was Desmond Howard. He's still a college football analyst for ESPN and part of ESPN College Game Day. And all that. So that's just plain amazing and all that. So Desmond Howard, do I think he's a bust? Maybe, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Does it? He's still playing in the NFL. That's something. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.